know how they say there's a vibe coding graveyard? You know how they also say that a lot of people who vibe code end up going to hire engineers to fix the mess that they've made in their project? Well, I was just on the cusp of that. And instead of hiring an engineer, I just used AI to debug my own mess. So you guys probably already heard about Gemini 3 vibe coding for people in AI Studio. And I fired this up about 2 days ago, and I created this little chatbot here that's not working at all. That's supposed to essentially connect to a Google Drive and pull from all these workflows that either I made or accumulated from around the web for the VIP members of PPA. And you're basically supposed to talk to it. It's supposed to respond pretty quickly because it's running Gemini 2.5 Flash. And you just say like, hey, I want N8N, newsletter, automations, list them all. So it's supposed to find them for you, but it never finds anything. Although, in fact, I did connect successfully the Google Drive API from the console. So I tried changing the application today, like updating it to essentially show the Google Drive files in a local browser window. And I wanted to add authentication that, as you can see, is not coming up here. And I noticed that there's a massive issue. Oh, one more thing. I tried to connect it to GitHub, but it just would never work. I just gave up on AI Studio. I noticed it's actually been shipped half-baked. And it's a little bit confusing because there is Firebase Studio, there's anti-gravity, which is possibly just like Windsurf rewrapped to be called AI, called anti-gravity after they signed with Google. And like, don't get me wrong, it's still great. AI Studio can create nice mini applications and vibe code websites for you. And you don't need complicated prompts. Like I use a very simple prompt to ask it to create this application for me. And then I went back and forth for a couple of days, but mostly here the issue was connecting GitHub and then pushing to Firebase and whatnot. So how did I fix my issues? So it wasn't connecting successfully to GitHub and it wasn't giving me correct answers. I, in fact, found out that the AI is hallucinating. And I found that out by using Google Gemini, like the Google Gemini app that is running Thinking 3 Pro under the Google Workspace subscription. So hilariously enough, this seems that it's running 3 Preview. So Gemini 3 Preview. And 3 Preview, like 2.5 Pro, seems to be very prone to hallucinations. And this is exactly what was going on in this case. And the full version figured that out. So essentially the way to go about it is you don't really have to hire an engineer. You can just first download the app if you vibe code something here and you've reached a point where you feel like the AI is not serving your queries well, it's not satisfying them. So then you put it on your desktop somewhere, you choose a file, and then you open up a project in GitHub. So basically you go to File, Open Folder, you choose it, you open it up, and then you save your workspace. Like as you can see, this has a name here, it's saved. I can open it and just get back here. And then you want to connect the Firebase CLI. If you're deploying to Firebase, if you're deploying Netlify, you would just like connect the Netlify CLI. Here I connected Git and everything, and I installed the dependencies here and fixed the files. And the way I did all of that, because my background is not in development, I used AI. So I just went to a new chat, none of my saved gems from here, and I just started this new chat and I said, hey, this is what I'm working on. This is the situation I'm running into, and I need you to help me figure this out. It's really that simple. And I saved myself hundreds, probably $1,000 or even more, hiring an engineer or full stack developer to help me diagnose my own mess. So really, you can be your own doctor in such situations similar to this if you just follow this principle. Just use AI as much as possible and try to stay within the same ecosystem, but just try their different AIs or products to try to figure out what's going on. So eventually it turns out that the AI here hallucinated. So it explained it somewhere here. Let me find it for you. Yeah, so I showed it an error that I got up here. It said, this is a classic AI hallucination in your configuration file. The AI wrote down a version number for the Google AI SDK that does not exist in the real world. So that's essentially Gemini 3 Preview. And it essentially tried to order an item from the menu that the restaurant doesn't even serve. We need to force install the actual version that exists to correct the typo in your file. And it mentioned what the fix is. And it said basically just copy this. So I would copy this and I would throw it in. And I eventually installed the dependencies and then pushed to GitHub. And of course, you need to authenticate with GitHub. And then the first one failed. I went back and forth. As you can see, like there's from 25 minutes ago to 9 minutes ago. And it took about 2.5 minutes to update the entire push to GitHub. So now the repo is in fact up to date. So this is how you do it. This is how you start composing your own software, outside the realm of Pickaxe. So as long as this does not intimidate you and you're willing to go into the weeds, then it is entirely possible. And this is just a quick video that I wanted to spin up for you guys and show you what I'm working on. So these are, I promised apps for VIP. These are things that or applications that I've always wanted to build. And some of them are quite simple. As you can see, this is just like TypeScript and HTML. There's one that's much more complicated that I'm working on now in anti-gravity. I actually canceled Replit. This is how Google anti-gravity is really, really good. But I think Google really needs to kind of focus here and kind of consolidate everything that they're working on, because in fact, they just have way too much going on. Like there's anti-gravity, which is a great alternative to Replit. There's the agent here, and the agent just creates artifacts for itself. There's the terminal right here. You could chat with not only Gemini 3, but you could also chat with 4.5 Sonnet, for example, or Opus. There you go. There's Gemini 3 Pro High, and there's Claude Sonnet 4.5, 4.5 Thinking, GPT OSS 120B Media, which is the open source model. So this is these are great products that are coming out of Google, and I want to explore all of them. So I just wanted to make this video for the community, kind of going into this to show you that this is entirely possible. And it's not as difficult as you think. So let me know what you guys think about this. Is this something you're interested in learning more about? Do you want to know how to vibe code? Should I do random live streams and just do build in public for you guys to see maybe applications that can complement your Pickaxe builds, or maybe you could build small applications to complement your own Skool communities? Let me know if that's something you're interested in the